Space may be in some way crossed by floating bodies, by various kinds of electrical vibrations, light waves, cosmic rays, etc. And in most people's minds, space is just nothing. Space is just isn't there. And so, at once one begins to see there's something fishy about space. After all, it is the background against which we see everything. And yet, the funny thing about space is that in a way it doesn't end where a solid begins. And you see immediately that you cannot pin space down. You cannot really conceive space at all. Look at the wonder a child has when it asks questions and begins. What's up there? What's beyond? What's after that? What's after that? And the child is absolutely fascinated by thinking about that. But it is against space that we experience everything that we experience. And by the way, also, we experience everything not only in the dimension of space, but also in the dimension of time. And the fascination about space and time is that while they are basic to all possible experiences that we have, you just can't put your finger on them. We could perhaps say that they are pure abstractions. There is no such thing as space, and there is no such thing as time. They are merely our way of measuring and thinking about the behavior of the physical universe as a pattern, a system of patterns, energy patterns. Space is used in basic Indian philosophy, in Vedanta. It is called Akasha. And Akasha is for them the fundamental element. There are 5 elements: earth, water, air, and fire, and Akasha. And so space contains all the other elements. In Buddhist philosophy, where the ultimate reality is called Shunyata, the void, the Chinese will translate the Sanskrit Shunyata with their character that means sky or space. The Taoists would say, quoting Lao Tzu, the usefulness of a window is not so much in the frame as in the empty space through which something can be seen. The usefulness of a vase is not so much in the sides made of clay as in the hollow inside into which something can be put. And of course that is a startling metaphor for a Westerner, because we think the other way round, you see. As I started out to say, we really think commonsensically that space is nothing at all. And we are much more sympathetic to the idea that it's pure abstraction than to the Oriental idea that space has some kind of basic reality. Painters also are very aware of space, because especially if you paint in oils, you have to paint your background. And therefore, in filling it in, you begin to realize that it has its own shape. And when you play with photographic negatives, or anything that switches foreground to background, you begin to become aware of space as having a shape. Because in order to handle the world, you see, you have to touch it rather gently. You mustn't try to pin things down. As they say in Zen, you do not try to drive a nail into the sky, because that's the beauty of space, you see. There's nothing in it to hang on. It hasn't a hook to put your hat on, somewhere in space. And yet, it hasn't got a floor to fall onto. See, if space had a concrete floor on the bottom, it'd be pretty dangerous stuff. But it doesn't. There's nowhere in space to collide with space. You can run into somebody or something else, yes, but not with space. there is a moth flying around me. It's very small, and it will soon run into a candle and extinguish itself. That little incident would not be possible at all except in the context of all these galaxies, because their existence goes with the possibility of there being such a minute little life fluttering around. What is not so easy to see is the picture in the opposite direction, that in the same measure all these galaxies depend upon and go with this little moth. Anyway, he said, I know that without me, God could not live for one moment. And this is the other aspect of it. And this is the difficult one to understand. If you realize that, then you've really got it. You've got the point of your own existence. But to get the reverse picture, you have first of all to get clearly its opposite one, namely that the existence of any one minute little thing is intimately related to everything. What happens when you clearly understand that, and you've really got that, your mind does a flip. When you find out that all this universe depends on you, some people get frightened, others get cocky. You have to discover that and then be natural. When you want to draw a map of a person's soul, you draw a map of the universe as it was when he was born. We say that is your chart. That expresses you in a special way. Now, the astrologers' maps are very crude. They're based on a rather primitive view of the universe. But the truth of it is there, you see, that who you really are, your soul, your mind, is the total universe as focused upon you. That space is you. Because you are equally inaccessible to inspection. What you see outside you and feel outside you is the way you feel inside your skin. You and I are all as much continuous with the physical universe as a wave is continuous with the ocean. The ocean waves and the universe peoples. Our consciousness has been influenced so that each one of us does not feel that we have been hypnotized, literally hypnotized, into feeling and sensing that we exist only inside our skins. Your skin doesn't separate you from the world. It's a bridge through which the external world flows into you, and you flow into it.